G'day, I'm Ben from Catch Pro Australia, and welcome to Lawn Care Skull Sessions with my co-host, the Bearded Lawnsman.
Buska.
How you going, butter?
Yeah, fucking alright, eh? It's looking like a bit of a rough day today, so I'm a bit worried about what the future holds. The boys are out at a village at the moment, but I think it'll stay good for them.
It was nice before, but it's like kind of grey and depressing
It's
now.
a bit
Like,
gross.
I don't know.
We had a little shower last night, and you said you didn't, but the roads are wet, so maybe you're just having nice dreams.
Man, I sleep pretty hard, eh?
Yeah. I normally wake up hard. Oh shit, son.
Oh, you. Yeah, so, look, we got a fun episode today.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the positives and negatives to like a residential style mowing run versus a strata mowing run.
And we've both done these sort of business styles in the past. So.
Absolutely, balls deep on both of these styles.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to be chatting about. And to be honest, it's really fitting because, like, I know I'm just at the point in my actual working career where, you know, like sometimes I look back on, you know, young Benny and I'm like, fuck, remember those days?
Yeah.
You know, and I know it's one of those things like no matter what stages you go through, like, you know, I'm sure back then I was always like, fuck, I wish I had more money or I wish I had this, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But now I look back on that and I was like, fucking just have a look at just easygoing Ben with no issues.
It comes at a perfect time doing this sort of this style. I picked up one of my long-term villages, which signed a 3-year contract with them.
Well done, brother.
Fuck girl. So that's really, really positive. That means that, you know, we gave them the option of 1, 2, or 3, and they picked a 3-year. So obviously the relationship there is strong. And you know, I've implemented something that you had implemented through one of your, like the business that I bought from you. I implemented that across a few of my other customers, and it seems to be working out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. I was shitting myself at the start of winter. I'm not even gonna lie. I hate the start of winter, especially the quick snap we had this year. It was like, we're sweet, we're still mowing, then fucking everything turned off. And I'm going to the 40 acres after a month mowing like 2 inches of grass. So
yeah, look, it's going to be pretty tough. In regards to that, I've spoken about it on social media. Catch Pro is going to be bringing out a new product, which is, you know, a turf pigment dye. So it's probably going to take about 4 weeks from now to have that in. But look, I think, you know, with the weather cycle coming along, you know, some contractors really vomit at this concept. But man, it just makes so much sense, and also it's a great way to upsell and keep busy during potential tough times.
Isn't it ever? And with drought, like people are talking about drought and shit like that. We haven't gone through that cycle for a long time. It's pretty much the perfect time for you to be getting involved in something like this, because it will become like a lot has happened since the last time a drought rolled around, and to have something like this where you can spray your lawn, is it one with a fertilizer element to it, or
not necessarily. Like there is sort of properties, like it's never going to be marketed as a fertilizer, but it is very good. It's an organic, like there's no chemicals or anything, and so, you know, you can mix it stronger or lighter. It's just going to be one of those things where contractors are going to have to look at ways to upsell.
Yeah.
You know, so and also realistically, the consumer or the client, you know, like I just know they'll be able to sort of walk out their driveway, or, you know, like they've still got that curb appeal.
Yeah, that's
but we'll get to that as the product comes along. I'm still negotiating and, you know, doing all the things that I've got to do to get the deal done.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have a couple of reviews.
Yeah. So
some of these might be a couple of weeks old, so apologies.
No, look, we try and bank a few because it's like, got to get the laptop out, man. We've got to get that laptop out, go through them. If there's one, we'll save them. We'll save them for a 5-minute section. So we got one that's like just like smiley faces. It's from Simu. Great podcast. Thanks, fellas.
Bunch of emojis. I see a cowboy hat one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see like a half gimped one.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say gimp?
Oh, well, I've got a suit hanging up in the cupboard, so...
What's a gimp again?
It's where you full leathers, ball in the mouth, walking around on fucking all fours, being led by a chain.
No, I had a different thought.
I love when you do that to me.
I had a different thought about a gimp.
So we have... That's a 4-star review, but it says we're rocking it, so...
4 stars?
That's a 4-star!
What the
deuce?
What the dog act?
It's cool, man. Like, we've got
Cutting your grass.
Yeah.
Cut your fucking head off.
Cutting my heart in half. That's cool, man.
Nah, just yamming.
These guys are rocking the Australian lawn mowing industry. I wish we had our soundboard here. I could fucking play some fucking guitar.
Now, we got one from Joe Kutch now. He bought a catch pro, so thank you, Jojo. And he's just, he's not in the industry, he's just a homeowner.
Oh, sick.
Come across our potty, also obviously came across our products, mounted it up to a John Deere and is absolutely loving it.
How funny is it that there are people outside our industry that listen to us? Like, I know Sparkies, I know a plumber, I know a guy who does data entry that listen to us every week, and they're just like, fuck yeah, boys.
I know. The twins tried to put it on in their computer studies class, and then my mum tried to show my grandma.
Oh my god!
And I was like, "Please, can't you just talk to me in person? Don't watch me on a film."
My mum pretended to watch a bunch, but I think she only watched 1, maybe 2.
Back to the interview from Joe Kutch. Hi guys, love the pod. I'm a late inclusion, only a homeowner, but love the tips. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. And you know what the best thing about coming in late to something? Like, you filled me in on a few TV series. Like, waiting... I'm not a waiter. I don't want to wait for a fucking series to come out. I don't like that old school way of waiting a week and then they have the season break.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm not going back to the fucking, 2000s.
Yeah, fuck that.
We're in the 20s now, motherfucker.
Yeah, there's battery head trimmers and shit, yo.
Have you watched Animal Kingdom yet?
No, I haven't.
Can anyone please text in and just be like, BJ, watch fucking Animal Kingdom, bro.
Yeah, okay. All right.
It's mad.
Should we do like a poll? Like, send us a review with your TV options on it, because we're running out of things. Like, my wife and I are polar opposites. Like, I love action and comedy, and she loves drama and fucking things like Kardashians and Dance Mums and shit like that. And I just like pretty much action shit. And comedy.
So
she won't watch anything that's set in the past or in the future. and
she wouldn't watch Yellowstone, right?
No, not a
Yellowstone.
Not a fucking chance. She'll spit at me.
Yellowstone is actually set in the present.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah, but they ride fucking horses, so she's like, mm-mm.
It's not about horses.
I know it's not about horses, but she will not watch it.
Yeah, I'm an action drama guy. To be honest, I can't watch a comedy. Like, I love comedies and sitcoms and stuff like that, but when I'm at night and I've finished with work and I'm sort of getting ready to go to bed, I sort of just need a storyline.
Have you ever watched Chuck before?
I've watched Chuck, but that is like a sort of action comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Chuck.
Yeah, we restarted
that. Was good, eh?
Yeah, she really is.
I also have an issue watching things that are M-rated. The whole world is fucking exploding, someone's legs falling off and they're like, current Sarnet.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if that was happening, you'd be like, motherfucker.
Yeah, you get shot, you don't go, oh my god.
Yeah.
You're like, motherfucker shot
me.
Or
they get punched in the neck, oh, my neck. My apple.
Oh, my apple. My apples. Oh.
Alright, we're going to get into the episode soon, but good friend of the show, Steve Ween, and great member of the contractor community.
Word up, Steve.
He's like the Homer Simpson of the group, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's a health inspector.
Ah, very nice.
Like homie. Anyway, he brought up a post about smoking. And I just thought it was interesting. You know, and a bit of a different thread compared to what we usually have. Now, obviously I'm a smoker.
Wait, what's that in your fingers?
Yeah.
Dragon's breath.
You had to be watching to see what I did then.
Do a donkey breath.
Remember the dragon? I can't do it because my nose is so fucked.
Remember when you first started smoking way back in the day when
I was 8.
Yeah. And you had a girlfriend and they smoked too, and you used to blow smoke into their.
I never ever had a girlfriend or hooked up with anyone that smoked.
Oh really?
No shit. Yeah.
Oh, back in the day, I thought smokers were pokers. Oh fuck.
Anyway, back to the thread. So the basic question was that Stephen Weenie has he's got crews out there and he's got policies in place, and I'm assuming 2 of the crew members, or 1 at least, is a smoker, and he's noticing that he had rules, and he's sort of suspecting that they're breaking these rules.
Yeah.
And look, he didn't ask for my comments, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought,
you put them on a public forum, you fucking gotta get them.
No, I just mean on this platform.
Yeah.
I think, coming from a smoker, I know that if you're a smoker, you'll have a sneaky fag just about whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever the opportunity comes up, you'll probably have a sneaky one. And just like I said in the thread, if you've got an awesome worker and he likes to punch the durries, obviously you need some rules, but if they're slipping up, in today's world with the way that workers is and things like that, I'm not sure it's worth trying to lose a worker over it.
Yeah, no, not right now. I do definitely agree with you that there should be rules. None of my boys smoke, except for one, and he just does it in he just doesn't walk around with a cigarette. He has a smoker's area, but that's in a retirement village situation. So he has a designated place where he can go and he can have his dart and but there's a bit of a.
So from personal...
It's different because there's vapes now and people are just walking around just fucking in shopping centres just smashing vapes and...
Yeah, the vape, it's nowhere near as big a deal because you're not actually contaminating the area. It's not a combustible.
Yeah.
And it actually, a lot of the flavours are really quite pleasant.
Mate, it is fucking out of control in schools though.
My stance would be, if you've got a piece of equipment, then you do not have a durry.
Yeah, that's actually
and if you're around clientele of any sort, also no durry.
Yeah. Imagine that, just I can quite launch.
Don't get me wrong, I knew my boundaries. As a solo operator, when I was a solo operator, if no one was home, I didn't like to operate equipment with a cigarette because a cigarette was kind of your release and you're relaxing.
Yep.
To sort of get yourself geared up.
People out there that have quit smoking probably listen to you. Yeah, it was a release and it was relaxing.
So, I wasn't really ever into, running equipment while having a cigarette.
Yeah.
I always had a cigarette on the way to the next job.
Yeah.
Or before any task.
Yeah.
And after I blow and after I eat and after I... Anyway, look, I think, just in regards to the thread, I think as bosses, you do need to have rules. But I don't know that it needs to be 100% no policy. You know what Corey Ballard does? Corey Ballard actually offers incentives to people who quit.
Really?
Or don't smoke yet. So he's a bit of a fit freak.
Yeah.
And his old man's a smoker.
Oh.
And he obviously has a humongous company.
Yeah.
And so if his workers quit smoking, they get incentives.
That's
and if you're a non-smoker, you get incentives as well. So it's You know, and that is the way that the world's heading. Like, I am disgusted in myself that I don't have the willpower to quit smoking. And I will quit one day. But from what I hear from other people who have quit, they just kind of get to a point where it's like, no, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I couldn't say that I'm there.
Yeah. Oh, you'll get there.
I'll
be here to support you.
So, in other news, this week I got called a loudmouth internet coward. So
Gangster. So how did that go about, Ben? How are you feeling now?
Look, the way that this... I feel good now.
Feel good now?
The way that this came about was, you know, clearly nothing to do with me again. But obviously, you know, passionate Catch Pro supporters and consumers, essentially, you know, something was put up on the losers page, and you know, they got the boot for it.
Yeah.
Now, I was getting screenshotted like mad, eh?
Actually, so was I.
And
because, can I tell my bit? Everyone thought that I was the autistic one. So he not only did he call him a fucking loudmouth, someone else, we won't mention his name, was branded as autistic. So I think...
Well, look, here's my stance on that first and foremost, right? Greg is a fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
But I don't think calling him autistic on a public thread is you know, like, I'm not super politically correct, neither are you.
Neither am I.
But I just don't think, like, you can't call someone autistic on a public thread. It's wrong.
Yeah, it's got a bad taste.
You know, it's not like, well, we have other stuff coming out where, like, I want to identify as a cat or a dude or a girl, whatever. They're like kind of choices.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're autistic, you're fucking autistic.
Yeah, you don't.
And it's not. I didn't think it was that cool.
No.
But the controversy was like, it obviously got brought over to LMC. And
so did it start on the other page?
Started on
where
the
you
other
can't defend yourself anymore or most of your friends can't defend you either.
No one can defend me because they will get the boot. And people actually end up making that decision where they're like, you know what, I need to comment right now, and I'm willing to kamikaze it. Let's face it, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Like, 90% of people that are on Greg's page are there to watch his fucking nonsense unfold. Even people who have said that they like him still purchase stuff from Catch Pro, and they're only on there to watch nonsense unfold.
Yeah.
It is a fucking laughing stock.
And pretty much 90% of the people that are on that page are on LMCA as well. So
that's right.
It's a
I'm just a mad hater of that page. It's not the page, it's not the community, the members are cool. You know, it's just a couple of fucking people that like to dock.
Yeah, fuck no. Back when I thought docking was fun.
So anyways, back to my story.
Yeah.
I like reached out to this dude and I'm like, and I'm not mentioning him by name just because it kind of fizzled out, but I'm like, hey man, just trying to clarify, like, this comment's about me, right? And it took him ages to come back, and I was like, man, this dude has 3 hours before I publicly destroy him. So he comes back and he's like, this is the next day, he comes back and he says, the way that you perceive yourself on, you know, is that you're a loudmouth. And I was like, look, man, I get that. I'm outspoken. I don't shy away from controversy. I like to talk about my feelings.
Yeah.
So I can understand how I come across as a loudmouth. The problem I have is the coward part. Because being called an internet coward over the internet kind of, you know...
It blurs some lines.
So he failed to even acknowledge the coward part. So I'm like, man, don't worry about nothing else. What I'm focused on is this coward part. And he ended up coming back and praising me, saying, hey, I don't know why you're worried about me and my comments. You have a thriving business that, you know, seems to, you know, you build it well, rah, rah. And I'm just like, I don't know where to go from here. Like, why call me out if you're gonna fucking, basically get on your knees afterwards?
Yeah.
So
this is the same person that
thinks he's fucking me. Now I'm fucking you, little hoe.
This is the same person who is. I've been sent screenshots of him actually saying that he goes out of his way to talk shit about Skag and try and get the Skag boys rolled up. We don't buy it. I said on Luke's podcast, we don't buy it. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, there's this stigma that because we're proud of our machines and we love the brand, that fucking we're gonna fucking care what you say. Fucking eat a dick. It doesn't matter to us. We fucking roll around on our cat's eye goal. We're happy as pie. We don't give a fuck, man. Like, really.
What I thought was actually funny about that is that, like, I'm being accused of, dragging something out, but he admittedly goes on social media to stir up Skag consumers. I mean, it's just like, I just get labelled all of these things when it's just happening anyway.
Yeah. And it's funny, there was an original fucking tiff, and then it's just other people just fucking keep bringing it up. So it's not got anything to do with him or me. People are stirring the pot.
Now, something that was a little bit childish of me was I did reach out to Prez and offered to send him a Catch Pro hat for his efforts. Which he tried to decline, but nah, bro.
Yeah.
Just send me the P.O. box.
Mate, he's got some sort of special fucking mental capacity to make memes. Like, what do you call them? Memes? Memes?
I call them memes.
Memes? I don't give a fuck. I get in trouble. Whatever.
Shout out to Patch Agency as well, who created a few Travis memes for me. That was a bit of a lol. Anyway, shall we jump into today's episode?
Yep.
So what we're going to be talking about is, just a basic comparison between, and, we'll weigh up some of the negatives and positives to a residential versus strata style business. Before we get going, we will say that today's episode is sponsored by Mower Merch.
Yeah.
Along with Bad Workwear and also some of our great affiliates, Skag Power Equipment.
Fuck yeah.
Bush Ranger and Gravely.
How do you like my jacket?
It's a good one, eh?
I thought it was too fat for it, but I fucking fit in it perfectly.
How's me? I'm rocking a skate brand today instead of, actually, speaking of skate, Bad Workwear have snowboards now.
What the fuck? Hey, you know what else they have?
What's this Fuki?
Pearl necklaces.
Oh my
How good is that? On the jaw. I'm gonna get the boys fucking pearl necklaces for Christmas.
Vicky wears a pearl necklace like 3 times a week, right?
What?
Yeah. But I don't get this.
I fucking dig it.
So
I think it's good. Just go. Let's
go and buy one.
Go and buy one, and let's just have like a show us your pearls day or something like that.
I don't get it. Like, the dude, like, I talk to them here and there. Like, they're kind of like, obviously they sponsor the show and we sell some of their stuff, but I don't like touch base with them regularly.
Yeah.
And the pearl necklace thing, like, he kind of started to talk to me about it, and then it seemed like he kind of got like a little bit El Buque Nerve trying to justify. I just don't understand why a workwear company has pearl necklaces. Like, is there an inside joke? Are we talking about
I think
alpaki of any sort?
I can only imagine that it's people who go through the accessory. Well, is it accessories? That
it's in the accessories. Yeah.
So they get that, and then I think they're $5. So someone on the work site you can give them a pearl necklace without having to get your cock out.
I don't know, but I just,
Maybe we should wear them. Maybe they look fucking good. Maybe they're like the new shell. Remember the shell necklace?
I don't want to wear one.
I'm going to give you a pearl necklace next show.
All right, so we should do this.
Let's get into the episode.
Okay, so we're just going to start with a little bit of back history to a young Benny Hoover, a young whippersnapper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I started my business, my old man started, when I started work, we actually bought a Strata business. So that was how I cut my feet in the business. Now, I didn't appreciate anything back then. I knew nothing about business. I knew that we had 60 jobs
Yep.
that were essentially a block of flats, like a
Yep.
a little tiny unit complex, made up of maybe 10 or 15 units per property.
Okay.
And so the deal was every fortnight you mow all the areas. There may be some courtyards. You basically blow the leaves and make sure there's no weeds. And then back then, quarterly, we used to do, I don't really recall us doing much hedge trimming regularly back then.
Yeah.
It was more like quarterly cleanups. So that's how I sort of cut my feet. Now the story goes that after 2 or 3 years, my old man left the business and I went and took a part-time job out of college.
Yeah.
So we kind of sold off that business, which is a huge business mistake, by the way. Then when I re-established myself after a year or two, I was a residential guy.
Yeah.
And went through that process for probably a good 5 years before I really built up any Strata stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my little background. Like, I've got tons of experience in this. BJ.
Polar opposite. I entered in. I didn't get my first Strata / commercial property till fucking well and truly into like my first 2 years. I went for residential stuff first. I thought it was good because you could pick up clients fairly easily. But I sort of evolved and saw what you were doing, which was really good, and it kind of made me sort of wake up to the fact that I wanted a little bit more security. I wasn't having fun with my residential customers because
Because they don't put it out?
Yeah. They were all not great. So we fucking moved away from that and decided that Strata was the way for me. And that's where we've targeted.
So we're going to look at some of the positives first of sort of each type of business.
Yeah.
Now, let's not, get this clouded that there's thousands and thousands of businesses out there that have a mix of residential and Strata.
Yeah.
So it's not one or the other. I just know by the end of my working days, I probably only had 1 or 2 residential clients, and realistically the rest was made up of Stratas.
Yeah.
So, let's just start with the positives of a residential business. The first one I have is actual cash flow.
Yes. It's very rare you see some of that fucking paper these days, in my business anyway.
And
you're all online in the currency world.
Look, every once in a while we will do a cash sale for someone, who lives in a say 10 or 15 minute radius because you can't actually ship.
Yeah.
Do
you miss it? Do you miss cash?
I fucking miss cash.
I miss cash so much. I'm envious of you guys who fucking have a nice big fat wad.
I'll actually share something really embarrassing with everyone.
That's disgusting, big fat wad.
There was a stage in my life, and I was pretty old, I was probably 23 or 24, where I didn't actually really know how to use a bank card.
I still don't know how to transfer money.
No, just I'm talking physically, I just always had so much cash.
You just never needed to.
I just never, I don't think I started even really using a bank card until the tap and go days.
Really?
I just, remember how you used to have to sort of insert or swipe the card?
Yeah.
I never really did that.
Yeah.
And now, my 10-year-old kids, we might be out at dinner or something and they're like, oh, can we get this? And it's like, man, for fuck's sakes. And sometimes you're like, do you know how to use this? And they're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, my kid has a fucking card. She's got one so school runs through fucking crap cards and shit.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so you go to tuck shop,
So
bang.
you can't rob no one no more.
Nah, no one gets rolled. It's only shoes that you get rolled. Shoes and vapes now you get rolled for.
Oh, that's so sad. So look, cash flow. Now I know that this element is nowhere near as prominent as what it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But there is still a cash element out there.
Oh, huge, yeah.
And I think it's a huge positive because it gives, like, I'm not telling anyone to do the wrong thing, but it gives small businesses a chance to kind of get ahead.
It's a little leg up.
And let's not beat around the bush. Even the government knows this. Cash makes Australia go round.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think having that cash element. I know, like, I've rocked up to Macca's before.
They never fucking offer a cash option. They're hanging the fucking thing out the window before you get there.
No, but I had like a situation where like something cost however many dollars and however many cents, and like I gave them like a note and a couple of cents so that I would get like a whole bill back in return, and they were just fucking proper tripping balls. They're like, what? Like, why did you give me that,
Mate,
and I'm like, you know, like they legit don't know what the fuck they're doing.
there's something about cash. They're like, ew, fuck you. Why are you giving me that? I'm like, because it's fucking legal tender, and because I don't want my wife to know that I'm buying like 6 coffees a day.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the other one.
So I think networking is one of the biggest things that you can get out of.
Hot chicks too, eh?
Yeah, hot chicks, networking, hot dudes, whatever you're into. Hot animals. Whatever you're into.
Fucking Nola.
Yeah, Nola! Fuck! You wouldn't know about Nola.
Lick my fucking cocaine, man. Hey, you got any shots got for my dress?
Fuck. You look like a little poofy, man.
Hey, man, do you shave your arms? You a puffy?
Oh my god, fuck. So Nola still pops up in a lot of social media threads, hey? Is this Nola? You know what?
I'd love to see her get sober.
I fucking would too. Like, I've had customers that really, like, you could tell that they were not well, to the point where they couldn't do their own lawn, so, you know, win for me, but...
I would have liked to have seen Russell smash her. She just,
Oh, shit.
but even Rusty, I reckon I could get in there.
Yeah.
But, because, like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
You would, like, I can't risk getting a disease.
Yeah. You filthy fuck. But back to the app. Networking is huge. So some of my biggest customers have come from networking through some of my smallest customers. It's not an everyday thing. Like, obviously you fucking may or may not make it happen, but building relationships is huge.
And look, we're going to provide some examples. So, you know, you pick up a job, all of a sudden you could pick up the one next door, you could pick up the one behind, across the road. This is what we mean by networking. Also, it's like, oh, hey, my mum is old as fuck, can you mow her lawn? You know, my son's lazy.
G'day.
Can you mow
What are you
his?
fucking pointing at me? I mow lawns for a living, mate.
No, my hand's just doing this.
Oh, okay, fair enough, whatever.
So this is what we mean about networking, which actually leads us to our next point, that it's really easy to build and expand a residential business.
Yeah.
You know, there's a plethora of houses out there, and whether you choose to do letterbox drops while you're in a particular neighborhood,
Yeah.
or
Using
you know,
lead services.
you're actively, you know, even your signage on your vehicles. You know, people can come out and you're in a certain neighborhood. Do you have anything else to build
Just
on
being in a community. So, like, doing good work on a street will normally yield you something else in that street. I sort of love those ones because you know that they're coming to you because you got quality work. They don't know your prices or anything like that. So when I first started, like, one of my best streets, I think I was like 9 or 10 houses deep, and it wasn't a big street. That was Abbeyfield Street. So when I got my first big strata,
the Christmas street.
the Christmas street, yeah, I couldn't do
Bastards
it.
don't do that anymore.
So this street, yeah, it was good. It was a fucking full day. It was a heavy day of work, and yeah, it was pretty good.
And also, you just have a really great opportunity to upsell. You know, like, you could be mowing, you could pick up that client, and it's like, hey, you know, we can spray the weeds every time we're here for $10.
Yeah.
You know, in the winter time, it's like, man, this limb is just, it's getting close to the gutter. We need to chop that off before the next season. There's a really great opportunity to upsell in a residential environment.
Yeah, because there's a big difference between like mulching a yard and charging them a couple of $100 to $1,000 or whatever, and mulching a village that will take 90 cubic meters of mulch. Then you've got labour on top of that, delivery fees and shit like that.
We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but it's different in the sense that anything that you try and upsell in these two different markets, in a residential, you know, you're touching base with someone, they probably got to touch base with their wife.
Yeah.
Might just check with the missus, eh?
Yeah.
But, you know, like, if you're in that strata environment, and we're going to get there to the negatives of this, but, you know, it has to go through a committee.
Yeah.
And it has to be voted on, and, you know, chances are that process could take a while.
Yeah.
I think we'll get to some of the negatives of running a residential business.
One of the biggest ones for me was contacting clients and scheduling. So that was one of the biggest downfalls of my residential time. I never could get everyone to agree, because I didn't have my territories really really tight. When I first started, I was just after as many people as I could, and I'd get them in the areas, and I could never get all of them to agree on one day. So as soon as I started to make moves, obviously that changed. But yeah, when I first started, it was fucked. I hated it.
And I actually remember, you know, one of my, because I had like a huge residential run, and it was a pretty tight ship. It was about anywhere between 10 to 15 lawns per day, and I just found everyone wanted it done on a Friday.
Yeah,
for the weekend. And it was, you know, I was always excellent with the scheduling, and I don't remember it being a challenge at all, but it is something that you have to deal with. You know, like with some of these residential businesses, you don't want to be suburb hopping.
No.
You know, you want to hit the suburbs and, you know, make that run as efficient as possible. Now, what I actually used to do, which I don't think was the most efficient way to run it, but it really worked. I really loved it.
Yeah.
And that outweighed, you know, what was efficient. But I had the area that I live in, Brisbane, we're on the Bayside, and I had very, very tight, compact runs, and I'd always leave them for a Friday. I really liked being in my hometown on a Friday, just because it kind of felt like, well, hey, I'm at work, but like I'm not that far from my house. Yeah. So what I actually but I had too many jobs to make that happen for a Friday.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of work, you know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes from my house. But what I actually did was I actually had various smaller runs. So I do all my driving in the morning before you can't start a machine. So I'd leave at 6 and get to the first job by 6:45. And I would do those runs until about 10:30 or 11ish, and then I'd you know, have a feed probably in the car or whatever, and I'd actually work my way back to Wynnum where I live, and maybe do 3 jobs in the TAS afternoons. And yeah, it was kind of like, just for some reason I always felt like if I was like ages away from home at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the arvo, I always just felt like, I don't know, it just didn't make me feel easy. I was sort of like, oh man, this is, you know, fucking dragging on. And,
I always aimed for my furthest one.
Yeah, so that's what I would aim for me furthest one, and I'd circle them up.
Yeah.
Instead of doing them like all on the same day and then dealing with traffic back on the way home, I used to smash out however many I needed to, you know, whether it's 3, 4, 5, And around 10:30, 11 o'clock, sometimes 12 o'clock, when there's no traffic, I'd make my way back to my home suburb, and then I would chill and do the last 3 or 4 jobs.
Yeah.
And that's where I found the efficiency as well. Instead of fighting school traffic on the way back to your home suburb, I was kind of doing it in the middle of the day.
How would you communicate with your customers? Would you text them or ring them, or would they just know that you're coming on a specific day? Like that's what fucked me around. I did not like having to send, like, you know, you could have 60 customers a fucking week. You have to send 60, hey, I'm coming your way. I didn't enjoy that. I know that I think there's scheduling apps that do that sort of shit now anyway. Like you can set up like hey, your service is due on the fucking blah blah. You can there's probably some tech service that you can do as well.
Believe it or not, this sounds fucked. But when I was, you know, had that heavy residential business, text messages were kind of really new. No. I want to say everyone texted, right? But like in terms of a business and a client relationship, like in the very beginning, it was very unprofessional and kind of taboo.
Okay.
But like when I had that type of business, it was very right now, that's what people would prefer. Like I can imagine a client picking up the phone and going like, why the fuck are you ringing me? Can't you just send me a text?
Yeah.
But when I was doing it, it was just like, oh, this is such a convenient service.
Yeah.
You know, like he's sending me a text, hello, we're going to be here at this time, does this work for you? So it was, just funny how it worked.
That's one thing.
It was right in the middle of, still being professional and, like really attractive for the customer to just receive a text.
Yeah, I've shied away from that sentence that you used before was, is this okay for you? I've started to shy away from that sentence now because what's good for them, fuck me, it's always inconvenient for me. So I've started to sort of change the way that I word things and basically say like, we're going to be here at this time. We'll see you then. And obviously if that's not a good time for them, they'll let you know. But it seems to be working better, and I can and I could, because I tried to implement that over a while. It just makes scheduling a bit easier. Like the ball is in my court and not theirs.
Mate, in all honesty, I believe once I kind of had one client rolling, they would actually just get the same broken down text every time.
Yeah.
I'll be here at 8 or fucking whatever. Oh. Like it was pretty rough by the end of it. If you don't like it, you can look at it at 8.
Look at it at 8. Huge one for me was invoicing.
Collecting money,
invoicing.
Whether it's invoicing,
it's a lot more paperwork.
I saw someone put up a meme, but and it was slightly not really about this, but I always remember like you've mowed their lawn, you've done it, you've knocked on their door, and all you want is your fucking money, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that should happen is they should have cash in their hand and they should be giving it to you.
Yeah.
And I remember, sometimes you're talking for like a minute or two, and eventually, and like I'm pretty forward, I'm like, yeah, we just want to get paid. And then, no worries, I'll go grab some cash. And I'm like, you fuckwit.
Yeah.
Why don't you just have it in your hand or have your wallet or something?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that we're waiting for right now?
Well, again, it's like a lot of things, and we've got it on the list. It's chatting. They want to have a chat because, again, like you may be the only person they speak to all day, and I know that doesn't help you or anyone out there. That doesn't help you guys, but it may help them, and I don't know.
Well, before we get to that, let's stay on the collecting payment.
Yeah.
Now, look, in a residential style business...
Or I'll leave it in the mailbox for you. I must have forgot.
Well, so, look, I had lots of residential clients that I actually never met. And FYI, I used to actually dab up on their lawns.
Yeah, okay.
They would always be, hey, money under the mat in the fucking, whatevs. And... that style of business used to just, like, they were my best.
But isn't it nice to lift up a doormat and be like, oh, it's there. It's like a
Yeah.
little surprise.
It was fantastic, yeah.
A little pineapple just sitting there waiting for
And especially if you got, like, really good at the lawn,
Yeah.
you know, where it's just like you look at it and you're like, sucker.
Just in and out.
But not those ones where you, like, grab a pineapple and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah. I've underquoted this one.
I'm gonna fucking empty this in your fucking gutters. Look, that was collecting payment. Obviously, you know, something that's really tough too is not only the physical collecting payment in person, but like you said, the invoicing.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
Now, a lot of the time you're just changing dates and sending an invoice. That's cool, but you do have to monitor whether they're actually paying you.
Yeah, you need to reconcile all that.
And we know how useless people are at that. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the customer physically making the payment. You know, these days I think a lot of people are on schedules and prepays and stuff. We won't get into it just because we've touched on it before. Yeah. I never really did that, and I don't know that I really feel or felt that comfortable doing it, just because I think I would just rather do the job before I got paid.
Yeah.
Just in case something happens. If you got a washout, or if you know, like, I just don't want... I like to be in control of my own business.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, if I was going to have another residential business, I would have one of these scheduling apps that also includes, like, on-the-spot invoicing. I think they're a really good idea, and you can just sit with your little iPad, very professional, take some photos, and away she goes. But I'd try and work that into their price.
You would have to.
You would have to.
So, I mean, that's just as bad as chatting to me. Like, you know, if you're doing your back end in the rig.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's okay.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing. Dogs.
Trampolines.
Hoses.
Fucking dog shit.
And crackheads.
Oh, yeah, crackheads.
So, these are all the things that you face in a residential environment.
Neighbours.
Man, I've had everything happen, eh? Like, this one residential client that I had, we called it the mansion. And I talked about this before. They're like, they had like a triple block.
It's massive.
In an estate of like...
When I first started, I did that with you a few times. Beautiful place.
Yeah, so it was just one of those mad jobs where, like, it was a residential job, but there was no set price. I could just invoice them X amount, whatever I chose to do. And because it was obviously all farmland at one point, and theirs was kind of like the original house.
Yeah.
And so they had 3 huge blocks surrounded by your typical windy streets where you're flat out putting a rig, you know. And where I used to pull up to fit my truck and trailer, like, there was tons of room, but where I pulled up was just a little bit on like this curve. And man, this one dude, like, he hated it. He just could not handle, and there was no yellow lines, no nothing. Perfectly legal to park. Yeah. So he's pulled up straight against me one day when I really had the shits, and he's like, "Oh geez, mate, you haven't pulled up in a very good spot." Now he's in the middle of the road opposite to me, right? So I just reached out the window. I was like, "Fucking better than where you pulled up, jack off." And straight away he was like, "Oh, fucking smart ass, are ya?" And I was like, "Oh, you haven't seen fucking nothing yet." And I was working with Rusty, and I got out of the car. I wasn't gonna do anything. Full Rusty's like, "Oh, Benny, get back in." You know, and I just started abusing the shit out of him. But you know, like, it's one of those situations where you just, in that residential environment, you just have to deal with so many dickheads all the time.
All the time. And then, look, even to the point where customers, maybe you'll have like a really good customer and like the husband will like you, but the wife doesn't, or, you know, the wife likes you and the husband doesn't.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say, I know what everyone's going to think about this, but...
Uh-oh.
Back when I was a young lad, I didn't always wear a t-shirt.
Ooh, yeah.
And now I always had one in me pants, sagging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's not like I do it all day or whatever. But I did have a husband, and this was when I was pretty young too. Like, I don't think I was a threat to any woman, to any man who like actually had a house and a wife. But I did remember this dude's like, "No, man, you got to put your shirt on," and I was straight away like, "Absolutely."
Yeah. But
it was just weird as fuck. Like, if I had tradies working at my house and they had their shirts off, I'd never say anything.
Yeah. So I wonder if like he was worried that his missus wanted to have a crack, or maybe he was like, if he doesn't put his shirt on soon, I'm going to try and suck his dick.
I don't know exactly what it was, but it was just because, man, like I was like, this, I think I had bleached hair.
You were pretty fit back then. Was that when you were surfing and stuff? Like,
yeah, but I was
washboard abs.
No, but I was not. I was 65 kilos.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Like I would have been.
I was born about that.
I would have been. I would have been 65 kegs. So I don't know that. I don't know that there was any women, falling over, bloody high-fiving themselves.
Yeah.
The little hose meme, the little. I've never been able to do that. So I will tell you one other one that happened to me.
Give it to me now.
Was actually at a Strata. We used to do a little courtyard, and the lady there was super nice. And this is, again, back when I was really young, like probably 19. They obviously worked from home. And I don't know, like the weirdest thing happened, like I was talking to her and g'day, we're gonna mow, and man, this was like tiny courtyard, And they had their washing on like one of those wash racks, and she had like all of her underwear, and it was very sexual. And like I saw it, and I'm like, all right, Ben, you just keep your eyes. You just keep your eyes on the clients, all right? Don't look at those sexy panties at all. Don't look at them. Don't even smell the air.
Don't put any in your pockets.
And I just remember, like, the husband came out and just started collecting all of them.
Oh.
Like, I was talking to him.
He's like, don't look at my underwear.
And I was just thinking in my head, like, is this dude full snatching these panties because he thinks like I'm gonna go have like a little spank bank later on?
Okay, so remember when I first started working in the industry, you got me on board to push mow these fucking courtyards. It was a Strata that you'd done before, but you weren't doing it on a regular, and you were just like, wait, watch out, there's one house where there's a chick who legitimately will hang about 40 G-bangers on the fucking thing. I got that house and I walked in there, and you have to put your blinders on because you don't want to, like, there was a lot of underwear on the fucking line. And I was just like, this is not natural. Like, this is when like eBay was like fucking hot at. I was like, these are being sold. Like, no one has that, I don't have that many fucking pairs of underpants. And I've said it on here, I shit myself a few times, so I always carry spares. No, but it was fucking weird. Like, and you got to stick your blinders on.
Oh, I got two other stories. I don't know if I've mentioned them on here, and if I have, they're probably old, but I'll never forget me and I had to work at Kiwi Dave.
Yeah,
and we rocked up to this rental property and like knocked on the door, and it was like 4 uni chicks our age, and we were going to be there all day doing a huge cleanup, and we had to like pressure clean this alleyway, and it was obviously where their clotheslines were. And yeah, like I just remember showing Dave and walking around there, and it was like you stepped into like a candy world or a chocolate world.
Oh fuck.
And it was just like all the colours of the rainbow, just different sizes and flavours and styles and all. And I was just like, oh.
I had a similar incident, but I was the customer when the Avon lady saw my cock. So that was wild. we were living in a strata complex, and I was up on a table changing a light bulb in the nude, and no one was home. Like, I was just by myself. I was just like, oh, I'll get that fucking light bulb while I'm here. So I was up on the fucking thing, and I hear like a knock at the door, and because my car was out the front, like they knew someone was there, and I saw someone walk past and just fucking saw their face straight through the thing, and I'm just there like this, like, oh, just putting the light bulb in. Like, yeah, I was stretching up so my fat was lifted and it looked alright. It would have been awful if it was like fucking winter and they would have been like, oh, Louise is home.
So my next one, everyone, is a little bit embarrassing, but, you know, it can't all be good stories.
Yeah.
So I'm like whippersnipping this lawn, and it's pretty rough, and I'm like full in the zone. Like, I've heard the mowing mentor talk about this, where you get like a circuit, you hit the boundaries, and then you come through and you hit all the obstacles. So I'm hitting around the washing line, and it was like one of those old school ones where there's like a bit of pavement there, so I'm getting ready to do the upright edge it, and I just feel something wrap around my whole face. And it is a dude's pair of Grundies, man. And I just
sniffed real
literally put them on like a mask, like a balaclava. And when I like...
Mommy, is that Batman?
When I pulled my face away, they were like discoloured and like peroxided.
Oh.
Where the sphincter had just been sitting.
Oh my God.
And obviously they were clean.
Ish.
And I was just, man, I actually started gagging.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, these undies, man, were just, like, just the actual gooch area, like, the banus.
Was there holes?
It just literally just went, like, straight over my face.
You wore, like, a Bane mask. I don't know why I'm here.
Look at my gooch face.
Oh, fuck. That's gnarly.
So anyway, yeah, I got full mad teabag by teabag holders.
That's hot as. Dude, we are so far into this episode. Maybe we should make this a two-parter.
Nah, we keep going.
Keep going?
Not only are we going to keep going, but we're going to plug some ads. So, just quickly, for anyone viewing this content on YouTube, you'll notice we've got a couple of things sitting on the bench. Now, I'm not going to go into full mad detail because they'll be on the website, but the Ericsson wheel chocks are no more.
Bye-bye.
So, we just with, shipping from America and stuff, we were like, no, we're going to make these ourselves. And it's going to be under the Landscape Pro banner. And we've made them all sexy and green.
Fuck yeah.
Green wheel chocks, so industry related, with black straps. So they'll suit any mower. So you can check them out soon. They're probably just going to be called Landscape Pro Wheel Chocks. That's going to replace the Ericsson wheel chocks, and probably going to be a little bit more affordable as well. Now, also what we have, you'll probably see the Beard and Lawnsman rocking this soon. We have Landscape Pro ratchet straps,
fucking
which are gangster ads. Now,
sure, you could knock a crackhead over the head with one of those.
So I'm hoping that this, yes, it does. What is great about these is you've got a little friendship hook.
Yep. To
latch onto your spot. You know when you throw a strap over and you're like, motherfucker, the other side's come off. So that's going to actually stop that from happening. They have a working load limit. With all the safety stuff on it, and they're bright green, so everyone will see you come down the street.
That's it. Very cool.
So quick cheap plug for Catch Pro there. Do you want to plug anything else?
Look, man, I've got my event coming up 19th of August. It is being held in the suburb of Chandler in Brisbane. 19th of August. We're going to kick off about 9:30. It's going to be a fantastic day. All proceeds of the day are going to the Red Kite Foundation. The Red Kite contacted me yesterday. They will be there. They're going to help out. There's going to be a few community groups that are going to help out as well. All the major brands are going to be there. If anyone from Husqvarna or Still are listening, can you please reach out to me, because I've been trying to contact and trying to get you involved. And those are the two that I can't penetrate as of yet. I do have all the numbers to a lot of the higher ups, but it's winter, maybe they're on holidays, something like that. But I would really love to hear from those two brands, because they're so in our industry that if they're not there, it'll be a bit of a shame, and
And
lost to them.
To all the ladies out there that might be listening, and there's probably only two. Leroy's going to be there chopping wood in his tracky dack, so
yeah.
that's going to be a great reason to come.
Fucking see
if you
that
don't know what I'm talking about,
just think
maybe reach out to him.
Just think of a bed sheet with a swinging hammer in it. Fucking love you, Leroy. Speaking of Leroy, he has actually got himself into a very niche business idea. I won't name it because he probably wouldn't want me to be posting about his fucking fantastic idea, but good on him. Go and follow his socials. He's doing a really good fucking job.
Yeah, good on you for building seawalls.
Oh, you piece of shit. If you go on and check out his socials, you know exactly what he's doing.
And just quickly, I've ordered myself a couple of pairs. Bad Workwear has a new waterproof pant. Completely different material to what they're used to. Their pants are usually very heavy, so this is going to be a thinner, breather material, waterproof, very stylish.
You can just piss yourself and it'll just run out the bottom.
Yeah, man, it'll do that.
Oh dear, Ben.
So back to the program.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered the positives and negatives to the residential side. We're going to start with the positives of a strata business. Now, look, for me, I think one of the biggest and best highlights of this is it's a regular source of income that you can always count on.
Yeah. Security.
So you're going to get X amount of cuts per year that's going to be agreed on by a committee, and you could just lock that shit in.
That's exactly what I love it for.
And man, like, we ran Greenscape Solutions on that one. Like, I just hated not knowing, and I know that there's people out there that are probably like, you have X amount locked in, and they're like, but there's more opportunities out there. But if you having a situation where 2 weeks in summer. I know Tyson and the boys go 3 weeks in autumn and spring.
Yep.
And then they go monthly throughout the winter. Like, you legit know exactly what you're going to get and what you've got room for.
Yeah, you can.
And I think it's fantastic.
And there's always extras. There's always something, and it's a good
look
place.
at you fucking jumping the gun to the next one.
Oh, sorry, mate. It's a good lead in. So there's always extras. So we in my business, and I'm pretty sure in yours as well, we set up like a maintenance package. The committees agree to it, and then we make sure that they know if there's extras like mulching, turf sprays, things like that. They are extras, and you can charge an extra fee for it. So people a lot of the time ask me like, oh, what can I charge for a day's work there? It's like, well, what do you need to make it profitable? So you have to do that yourself. You have to make sure that that day is going to be profitable. But these extra jobs, like, you're already there, you've already built the relationship, they'll let you, be a little bit cheeky and add a little bit of extra cream on top for those extra jobs, because they don't want to fucking go and get 3 other quotes every time they want to do this stuff. Like, you're there, they know you're going to do a good job, and they'll fucking let you do it. So,
and not only that, a lot of these places have nice gardens, hedges, all that sort of stuff. And what we used to do was, give them, this is, obviously later on, once the business evolved, instead of doing those quarterly cleanup trims and stuff like that, we'd be like, we're just going to hit this every time we're here. Now, you might be talking about a couple of mil of growth on a hedge, but we're just going to hit it. And, you can get yourself from a $60 or a $70 mow all the way up to like 130 plus GST to just look after the whole complex.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know, one fortnight we might get there and it'd be like, hey, hit all the tops of the hedges. The sides don't look that bad.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're eliminating a lot of raking and a lot of green waste. So most of the time it can be blown. Spot sprays every time.
Yeah.
Things like that. So there's opportunities. I think there's more opportunities to have a tight, agreed-based schedule.
Yeah. Another positive I find with these big strata sites is you can use them to get more strata sites. So a lot of times you'll have a circle and you'll want to do a few things in that circle of area. You can say, approach someone and be like, okay, I do this one, and go and have a look. This is the quality that will keep your place in as well, and we strive to keep it like that the whole year round. We'll set up a package that works for you and for us, and that's
So to elaborate, most of the time at these unit complexes, you have a committee, and there'll be a chair, but then there'll be a managing body like some sort of strata, manager that probably manages a portfolio of anywhere from 50 to 200 properties that can range through, even states. And you start getting in tight and, making your work look really good. That is how Tyson and the Executive Property Maintenance Services franchise built their whole, they are just in with all of the property managers. I mean, they do thousands of these jobs on a regular basis.
On a regular basis. And it's really good because, you build that
cheap plug for Tyson Wilson.
Yeah.
If you're looking to, improve your business, reach out to EPMS, Executive Property Maintenance Services.
You build, you work hard to make this place look good. They'll make it work for you. So that's how I always thought of it. And, we've got a few sites now that are like that. I can say, go and have a look at this one. If you're not close to that one, go and have a look at that one. Just take a 5-minute drive through. You'll see that everything's always maintained.
And not only that, there is even more chances to build and expand, gutter cleans, pressure cleaning, courtyards for cash. Some people probably look at it and go I'm not putting my fucking mower on there for less than $40. But if it's a 15 square meter place and you're already there, it's $15 will do the trick, eh?
Yeah, well, there is a conflict of interest issue when it comes to that. We'll check that out in the negatives.
Yeah, but it's I know what you're saying at your big villages and stuff, but in a smaller complex, it doesn't make any sense for them to bring in someone else.
No, we're just $20 we'll run over that. She all good.
Now, I could be going out on a limb here, but I strongly believe, I just agree with this 100%, that they are generally nicer working conditions in a strata environment, just in the sense that everything's regular.
Yeah.
You don't have the dog shit, you don't have the trampolines. You will occasionally come across a smacky.
Yeah.
But usually, they're not the ones calling the shots or anything, so you can bash them if you want to.
Yeah, that's it. And just be like, he attacked me.
And what else do you think, BJ, in regards to, some of the other positives that we've gone through on a strata business?
Oh, look, like I said before, in regards to, using them as showcase pieces, I think that it's quite fulfilling. I totally agree with you in the point saying that it's nicer working conditions because, we have toilets, on the bigger sites, we have toilets, we have microwave and shit like that, so that it's definitely true. But yeah, I find it really fulfilling. You can step back and go, this whole site looks this good because of me and my team. So
I'm still very much talking though, when I talk about a strata business, you're much, it'll only be a block 800,000 square meters.
Yeah. It's still you get to stand back and look at it and be like, fuck yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah. So we do one that's on a strip with a bunch of other stratas, and they're all relative size. This one's got about 30 houses, townhouses sort of thing in it. So you drive down the street and you just see trash, one that's nice and then trash, and then ours is fucking mint. The front is the only one that's still green. It's the only one that's weed free. You can see the first set of hedges as you look through the gate. It looks so nice, and then you get onto the next one. It's a bit average, and then I will admit there's a fucking really nice one up the other end, but it's triple the size. So obviously there's a bit more time being spent there. But that's the sort of thing, like I drive that street fairly often, and it's nice. It's nice to have that sort of fulfillment in your job. And
absolutely. Now, switching gears to the negatives of a strata, and the very first one that I have is committees.
Yes.
Fucking death to committees.
Now, they're a necessary evil in these body corp situations, but look, I've got some really good ones, and I've got some not so good ones. Some of them are quite fine, like they're nothing, like they're not evil or anything, but there's a lot of politics that goes on inside of these bigger villages.
There's always a pest.
There is always a pest. Now, I can't say that there's a pest in one or two of my villages, but there is definitely and there's like a standover person. There's a person who's the voice, who might not even, like, they might just be a member, but they speak over the top of everyone.
That's right, yeah.
I had one situation where the person was not officially on the committee, but she had such a hold over this whole place, and this is like a 12 13 acre site. It is a big place. There's nearly 100 units in it, and she dictated everything. Now, the problem I saw with this is she was actually the owner of the body corp company. So it is a massive conflict of interest. She was rude to the point where Will, on his first day, she was like, "What are you doing in the garden?" And poor dude, like his first day, he's shitting himself. He's like, "Oh, I'm weeding." And she's like, "Well, do it from outside the garden." I was like, "Oh, fuck." So she would have no idea what they're doing. So we're having a little bit of trouble with that one, but we'll work through it. But yeah, so that was a really bad situation, because that was someone influencing the committee. And not only were they influencing the committee, they were also paying all the bills and all that sort of shit. Like, it's a weird sort of construction of people.
Yeah, committees, they're just a pain in the ass.
Sometimes they're really nice, and all they want to do is have a nice community. But then other times people get a little taste of power and they fucking run with it.
Yeah, I find in the stratas where, it's a relatively small block and there might only be 10 units, out of all the owners, you might only have a committee of 3, and there's kind of just one, you have to have a committee of 3, a minimum of 3.
Yeah.
But really one person calls all the shots, and they're probably most of the time the best ones.
Yeah.
Because there's not just tons of fingers in the pie.
Yeah. I've got one that's a very nice one on the waterfront, and there's 8 people in there, and they all contribute to the committee.
Yeah,
there's a few spokesmen, and there's a few people who are a point of contact, and they'll ask for certain things, but everyone's involved. It's a fucking fantastic environment to work with. But yeah, I definitely have.
Now, a major negative is no more cash.
No more cash.
Now, we did speak briefly. Yes, there will be cash opportunities. Maybe if you're doing someone's courtyard, that's not included in the common areas, then that can be, a cash element. But generally speaking, in the large scope of things, your cash element's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is a thing that happens. Imagine if you got paid from starters in cash. I mean, obviously that would have been a thing for a long time.
Oh man, I'd be pimp slapping everyone.
Oh, me too. I'd actually have a money clip.
Yeah, and just
with some money in it.
Just pocket cash.
Yeah, pocket cash. Yeah. Another negative to the strata side of the world is it is hard to penetrate. It's hard to build. It's harder. I shouldn't say it's hard, but it's harder.
To get your first one, let's say you're listening to this podcast now and you're doing all residential style work, and you decide, I'd like to pick up my first block of units. Getting that first one is hard.
I think the first one is
everyone's hooked up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
everyone's already hooked up. Like,
Yeah.
there is no unit complex out there that doesn't have a gardener.
Yeah.
And so you have to wait for someone to fuck up.
Yeah, and you have to talk the talk. Like, you have to go in there like you've got 5 other unit blocks. And, you know, you can go the other way and you can be like, this is my, like, you want to see someone who wants the opportunity, I'm your man. And you can feed them like that and say, like, if you give me this opportunity, I will not let you down. But in all honesty, like, there's a bit of a confidence, cocky sort of thing you have to swing, because you are trying to convince like 7 or 8 people or however many is on the committee just to give you a chance, just to give you a horse in the race, because they will, if they're going to swap someone out, they have to get legally 3 quotes. And it's a dollar figure thing. So I think most body corps have a different dollar figure. So some of the ones I work with, anything over 1,000 has to go through the committee. Some of them, anything over 5,000 has to go through the committee, and it has to be voted on, and they have to get other quotes. So just keep that in mind too.
And more to the point, you actually have to have your templates and stuff in order. Like, you know, if you rock up to a residential yard, it can be a verbal, hey, we'll do this for $80.
Yeah.
You might send a text, you know, and it's like, yeah, we'll do it for $80. Okay, we'll catch you on Friday.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that often are you sort of expected to email a quote over.
Yeah.
Whereas once you're in the Strata game, that's how it all works. And, you know, you want to make sure that not only your numbers correct, but you sort of have the general scope. Like, even if it is just a mow and edge,
Yeah.
you sort of, you know, want to have a reasonable layout where they can open it, look at it, go, okay, I know exactly what I'm getting, and go from there. So, you know, it's different. Look, I don't see that as a negative, but other people might. I also, not only is this difficult to penetrate, and we're just going to talk about building as well, there is a positive in the sense that if you do great work and start getting noticed by these property managers, then it's very easy to build.
Yeah.
But if you don't if you're not standing out, or, you know, I guess that's probably it. If you're not really standing out,
Yeah.
or, you know, actively, I think you have to actively chase this work. It can be difficult to build that Strata business.
Yeah, it's a lot of networking. So you need to let them know that you are still chasing. Like, you're always looking for something.
But what's hard about it too is you would very rarely liaise with the property manager.
No.
You know, you'll send your accounts off to accounts. So I know that's what we used to do, is we used to actually just send, you know, something to the accounts people. And just say, hey, can you pass this on to the appropriate contact?
Yeah.
So that's a little good pro tip there.
Yeah.
Something else that I'm not really sure that this is a negative, but I guess it's just something. You know, what do you think, BJ, for the next point?
Yeah, I think being well prepared and well equipped is something that you need to sort of have. You got to
Kind of presented.
Yeah, a little bit more
too.
professional. Like, people are going to be watching you. Like, you are going to always be watched. So, going back to Steve's comment, like his post on the MCA, I think like when you're in a Strata environment, I think like there has to be like a sort of a designated smoking zone and stuff like that. Like, I remember working with you used to smoke at the truck, which was, you know, it was fine. Like, no one tripped on that. So yeah, things like that. I think uniforms are a big thing, so people aren't looking out their window and going, you know, who's it? Especially when you first rock up to something like that. If you're rocking up in like, you know, just plain clothes, people are going to be like, oh, who's this guy?
I mean, I've done Stratas before with like, there was a time where I was just wearing Dunlop Ollies and, you know, stuff like that, but I just don't think you're really turning any heads.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like, if you want to build, like, you know, present yourself in a.
I mean, Tyson's guys, like, to be honest, they all still work in like footy shorts.
Yeah.
They have a shirt.
They're all.
They wear footy shorts.
They can all pull off footy shorts though.
Yeah, I didn't have the pins for it.
Yeah, I don't either. I've got too saggy bag, fucking hanging out the bottom. I do think like, you know, presentation is,
but you know, like I think
big thing.
I think in the residential game, you know, when you could be working for, you know, you could have like a 25-year-old single mother who just needs to get their lawn mowed. It's like, you don't really need to fucking dress up for that person.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to be that well presented.
Yeah. It's another thing too, like, it's not just your presentation, it's also like your conduct on site. I think like OH&S comes into things, like some of our sites require us to have a certain amount of
well, you need to submit all your public liability and stuff.
Yeah, obviously your public liability, but like CM3 certifications is like a health and safety thing, like it's a modular thing that you have to do. Some, like we have to do on-site inductions at some of our sites.
I'm still talking about much smaller sites, pal.
Okay.
Not big villages. Like,
I mean, some of them.
This whole episode, I'm really talking much smaller.
Well, look, I can only really go by what I do. So I really don't have. I've only got a handful of small ones, and they all pretty much have asked for. You know, I conduct myself the same at small ones as I do big ones. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think like, you know, if you know, putting witches hats out and things like that, I think all that comes as like.
Actually, that's something that I have to say. Negatives of a Strata is the parking accessibility. Like sometimes they cram these unit blocks in, man. Like 1,000 per street. Now, when I worked out of a truck, it wasn't really that much of an issue, but when I did a little bit of time at Tyson and them, it amazed me. They just fucking double park the driveways.
Yeah. Well, look at my Hilux, and like that setup is huge. We can't even turn around in one of our places. It's a rabbit warren. It's stupid. You could barely turn like even my truck, I would struggle to get in there and turn around. But yeah, it is a bit of a problem, especially for the smaller ones in those areas, because some of them, like there's only one side of the street that you can really.
Like the ones that I was doing, we would be hitting like 10 or 15 of these a day, and I just always remember like if you couldn't get like a mad park, it was you were down on your day for time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, that's something that's pretty real.
Actually, speaking of time, one of the positives we missed was actually travel. That's a huge positive when it comes to Strata, because you can actually, you know, limit that travel time. You can go to one place, or you can go to 5 places and be there a little bit longer. I know you're focusing on some smaller ones as well, where there might only be a footpath or something like that to mow. But yeah, I think travel, when you step it up into the bigger ones where you might be spending like a 2 hour or a 4 hour or something like that, I think that's a good benefit, because fuck, we all know how shit traffic's getting.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're pretty much covered most of the topics, and I really think I really hope that this kind of helps people, you know, maybe if they're not happy in the residential game. This was much more of a comparison, not to really say that one is better than the other.
Yeah.
Look, I personally always preferred the Strata. For the points that we highlighted, even though there is negatives, I think they outweigh those positives.
Yeah.
And I think in a residential style business, even though you have the ability to just keep piling them on, I think you just have too many factors there that can let you down, like, hey, it hasn't grown this week, or hey, it's a bit wet. Whereas in the Strata environment, you know, it can be fucking absolutely pissing down, you know, and you can still go and do something and send that invoice, because realistically the property manager could be located in a completely different city and doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
That's it.
You just need to keep the place looking good.
That's exactly right. And I'm down for the same reasons you are, my friend.
Yeah, so before we go, I do want to do a little reveal. The Skull Sessions, along with Cash Pro, has formed a relationship with Living Turf.
Yo.
Now, nothing's fully official yet, but they do have an exciting section they're going to branch out into called the Lawn Shed, and it's basically going to be all your different ferts and chemical packages. And the great thing is that it's all going to be broken down for the contractors and discounted at all times.
Oh shit, yeah.
So we will soon have a link and a code, and you'll be able to buy these products in any amounts and basically have that discounted. And as a result, you will also be supporting the show.
Hell yeah. No,
So,
it's awesome. I'm
really cool people
wait.
over there.
Very exciting.
So until then, I think we're ready to ball. In the meantime, don't forget to follow and check out TBL on Instagram about the event happening on the 19th of August. We're going to start leaking that stuff now.
Yeah, 2 months to go, and it's going to be a hectic 2 months. Everything's going to be ready to rock and roll, and I really, really will appreciate it if you make the effort to come, because it's such a good cause, and they're so thankful that we've chosen. Like yesterday, talking to the Red Kite Foundation, it was really nice to know how important this sort of thing is to them. So yeah, come along.
Awesome. Until then, I am at Catch Pro, he's at TBL, and we're out of time.
Peace.